Alright guys, hello! So, Tennolive, PAX East happened, um, and we got a lot. We got, like, as expected, we got, like, what we want, basically, and it's really good. So, let's just get into it, and, I'm sorry this video's coming out a little bit late. The end of their stream, like, just completely died on Twitch, and there was no way to watch the final teaser they showed, so I decided to wait a little bit until, like, we were able to see the final teaser, because it's some big stuff, and I think it was worth waiting for. But let's just jump right into it with the first thing here, with the new Warframe, which is a fairy-themed Warframe. It's a really interesting design, and they've got, like, bladed butterflies as their thing, and then otherwise, there's some weird, they talked about some weird powers. And, like, the two things that kind of in conjunction with each other that they talked about, more specifically, was that you'd be able to shrink and be able to be, like, a tiny, like, kind of Archwing-controlled Warframe on ships, and that you would have, like, swarms of copies of yourself, which seems really unique and really interesting and, like, unlike anything that we have right now. And it seems like a cool concept for a Warframe. I really like how this Warframe looks, like, a lot, actually. And if they're gonna be having, like, all kinds of, like, weird, like, swarms of butterflies and stuff as attacks, and they're an ability to shrink, like, it sounds really defensive, and maybe more in a support kind of way, just kind of based on how they look. They remind me a lot of Trinity. I don't really know why that is. But the new Warframe seems interesting. I really like the design. Hopefully we get that, or that, wait, no. They did say that was coming in 19, so that is probably pretty soon, which is awesome. Next up, very importantly, we got to see the new Prime, and the new Prime weapons that are going to be coming with him, and that is Vauban. This is pretty much the best screenshot I could grab of it. He looks better than I could imagine Vauban ever looking, which is a weird thing to say because I really don't like. Well, I don't not like original Vauban, but he's not anywhere near like a thing that I really care about in terms of like a visual design. This, on the other hand, looks fantastic. And I don't know if that's just because he's using a Fragor, which is really just, like, pressing it to me, because that Prime Fragor right there looks amazing, but his visual design looks great, and we had some questions from the audience that was there, that maybe Vauban would also be getting some tweaks to his abilities to make his kit maybe a little more whole, as opposed to him having, like, just some more niche uses right now, I'd say, being overshadowed a little bit by some other frames in the A rank. But he's still really good, so he doesn't really need it. I'm very excited for this Prime now, just based off looks. And also, a little bit later in the trailer, we get to see the X Stilettos Prime, which I'm kind of... it's either here nor there for me. The X Stilettos are a upgrade material for the X Somati regularly. I hope the X Stiletto Primes are not a material for X Somati Prime eventually, because that would really suck. And it seems kind of weird that we're getting a Prime of a material weapon that has an upgrade. Kind of a nitpick though. It'll be nice if those weapons are good to have some more options in the secondary slot, because right now it seems like we got a lot of single shot stuff that is really good. And a lot of weird weapons that are really good. Not really any basic machine guns that are really standing out. But that's that. It looks fantastic. We have, along with some leaks that were data mined out of like the most recent patch, and information that we just got from PAX, we're going to have a new event that is a Grineer Trial by Combat, and it's going to be single combat arenas with boss tier enemies. And you're basically going to work your way through these bosses, just one by one, defeating them one right after the other, and there's going to be Syndicate Impact to this, which I don't know what they're going to do with, but apparently Steel Meridian will contact you for this, and ask for your help with it, of course, and then you can choose from there if you are going to, like, stick with Steel Meridian and help them out more, or if you're going to be like, hey, Maybe New Loka wants these guys to torture them for information. Maybe they've got synthetic augment things, and New Loka doesn't really like that because they're definitely secretly evil. So there's that. That new event sounds really good. Just based on like the data mine information I was reading, it seems like we're gonna have some really interesting stuff coming out of there, along with a lot of new mods and things. And I can cover that more in depth if you guys really want me to, but let me know if you want that. It's kind of like a lot of speculation in the data mine portions of that. Otherwise, I have the final like set of 3 things are actually the most exciting to me, and one of them is a PvP thing, so weird shit going on there. But let's talk about Sentience, because this is a Sentient. This is a Sentient right here on the left. This guy right here, that's a big Sentient exoskeleton. And it looks nuts. But farther to the right, you're looking at that and you're going, that's Excalibur. What's going on with that? So, Focus is going to be getting an expansion upon what it already is into more of what I was kind of expecting, to be honest, whenever I heard that we were going to have like a larger overarching power. So basically it's going to be a super weapon, kind of like a transformation as far as like I was taking it. A lot of it seems to be definitely not set in stone yet, and it's very worth speculating on. But basically you're going to be able to have this super weapon that is going to be like ultimately destructive, that you can, like, just... I assume you can just transform your arm into it, and it is not permanent. We know that. We know that you will not have to, like, permanently, like, transform one of your Warframes, and that there are going to be cosmetic options for this thing. But, like, A, this enemy right here, I want to fight it. It looks fucking cool. And B, if they are going to go anything in the kind of way that, if you've played Vindictus, if they're gonna go any kind of way where like you have like the Black Knight transformations and stuff in Vindictus, if it's going to be that sort of thing, I'm very, very excited to see that, because that type of transformation where you're getting it, let's say, once an hour, and you can just like bust it out and it just fucking solves the problem, is really good. And I think it would be interesting to speculate on what one of these super weapons would need to be able to accomplish for it to be used. So I might like kind of do like a theory crafting video for what a super weapon in like that kind of context has to be for it to be useful to a player. And I think that would be really interesting. I'm super excited for this. This is probably the thing I am the most excited for coming out of this, even though it is probably in the far-flung future. It like probably not even holding my breath for this year, honestly. But it's very exciting to me, like very, very exciting, and I cannot wait for more information on that. Otherwise, there's a very weird thing, very strange, that I'm excited for, and that is the new PvP mode, Lunaro. So, we got this as the teaser image, and you can, like, there's some weird, it's a new Conclave mode, but it is not, like, traditional PvP shooting each other. The way that they described it made me instantly think of Griffball, and then they mentioned Rocket League as a thing it was going to be similar to, which, because I had, like, the kind of time between, like, that coming out, and now I've had, like, a lot of time to kind of digest what that means, and I think that that is actually a hugely good thing for the game, because right now, PvP is not super well-balanced. It's kind of clunky, and there's a lot of shit wrong with it. Mostly because of, like, the oversaturation of, like, things that need to be balanced, and, like, the way we just kind of move in the game in general. If they can introduce a mode into PvP that you could play instead of the actual, like, deathmatch, capture the Cephalon type things, and give us a thing that is like Rocket League, that is very simple but fun, like, versus stuff, like just dunking a ball into a goal or whatever, and like playing keep away. I think that can be really, really fun. It seems like the type of thing that is going to just like completely kill regular PvP if it's any good. Like if it's a good game mode, it'll just absolutely destroy regular PvP, I think. Which is not a bad thing, because I think regular PvP is kinda not great right now. It's not very good. I'm literally only playing it because I want the cosmetics in Conclave, and that's not a good reason. That's bad. So yeah. But it seems really interesting. And I don't know, like, the speculation from this, I don't know, but maybe our operators are, like, actually going to be doing something in this, which seems kind of interesting. I don't know, like, just based on this, like, promotional art that they have for it, it's, like, the operators are out with the Warframes, which is really interesting to me. Maybe, like, possible lore developments there where we're not, like, super crippled from being in, like, space hibernation for thousands of years. So that's really awesome. And finally, the final teaser that we waited for, I want to talk about it, but first let's show it, which I'll just put that right here.
I'm afraid, sister. The conjunction grows in here.
Hush, worm. Let the beasts do their work.
But the dreamers have awakened. They will come for us.
Yes, they will. Like the answer to a prayer.
Alright, welcome back. Okay, so that teaser trailer is real good. And there's some interesting things about it that are heavy in like the speculation department for me, because the way that I'm looking at those two, who I am assuming are the twin queens, but like they could totally pull the rug out from under us, and that's like a mid-boss, which would be insane. The way I was looking at those two is that the one, like the little smaller one on the left, is basically an operator. Like the way that they talk makes me think that they are going to have like operator-like qualities to them, and have like some really like weird shit going on, which is super interesting. Obviously, I cannot wait for that. That is supposed to be the new raid, with all of them. That's gonna be fucking cool. Otherwise, those two guys that show up right at the end, they are super interesting to me because they're huge. And what I mean by that is, like, generally if you look at, like, any faction, if we're not counting the infested, which are, like, inherently kind of, like, weird, like, amalgamations of flesh that's just kind of packed together, because they're, like, super weirdos. If you look at, like, the Corpus and, like, the Grineer, like, generally the size of a soldier between, like, a regular unit and a heavy unit isn't actually even that crazy, unless it's, like, an entirely different thing. Like, on the Corpus, like, if you look at, like, a Corpus crewman and a Bursa, their size isn't actually that crazy, but those two soldiers look like they are, like, hallway-filling monstrosities, which is kind of, like, a class of enemy that we haven't seen yet. So if we're going to get, like, enemies that can fill out, like, and be, like, have a bigger impact even beyond, and, like, maybe be stronger because they are bigger targets, gameplay-wise, that seems interesting to me. But I could be stretching it a little bit. They might end up smaller than they look in the trailer. But that seems super cool to me. And just in general, like, we got a lot of good stuff. We got a lot of good stuff today. And speaking of a lot of good stuff today, I'm going to be streaming later at some point tonight. So come hang out for that. I'm not really sure what I'm going to be playing yet. I might do some, like, Warframe and then some Dark Souls and stuff. But, like, it should be really fun. And also, beyond that, these kind of like dev stream breakdowns and stuff, it has been an entire year of them. It has been an entire year since I started doing these, because the last one I did was at Tennolive at PAX East, the like initial like 2015 one, and it has been a year, and like in that year, like I have gone from like not knowing if like my stuff on YouTube was good to being like, okay, there are people that actually care, like I'm actually like doing a thing that people want to watch. And today, like, well, right after like Borrow and stuff, like right after I like finished that up, I looked and it was like, that's 14K, and that is a huge thing for me, because it means like it's just like it's a number that represents that people care, and I really appreciate that 14K of you care, and want to like watch like videos from me, because it means a whole lot, because this is the thing that I want to do, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you, for just like if you've been here a long time, sticking around and putting up with my bullshit, because sometimes I'm just bullshit, but otherwise, if like I don't know, it's hard to like put into words like the appreciation, because it's like a strange like you guys are like a mass now. Like there was a point whenever I had like 30 subscribers and I was like, I know who that guy is. That guy watches a bunch of my videos. Like, for example, Bayless is a guy that like messaged me and stuff whenever I was first starting out, and he's a really cool dude, and like things were a lot more personal then, and I could attribute like, hey, that guy likes my content, and like the reason that I'm making more is for people like that like they want to see it, so I should continue making it. And like the more like that number has gotten larger, like just on the channel where it's like this many people, it gets like weirder and weirder to be like, that many people want to see the stuff, and it's very strange. But I'm rambling, so I just wanted to say thank you like a lot, because it's actually amazing. And I will see you guys later tonight, hopefully, but if I don't, I will see you guys tomorrow.